It'll always be freedom. It'll always be freedom.
So, hello in Conversations in Anarchy this time. My name is Laura and I'm your host today. Today I am having a wonderful guest. Her name is Ana Maria Oliva, and she's a scientist in biomedicine and also founder and director of the Living University of Terrain, and also a mother and the person, as she told on last year's Anarchapulco panel, where there were couples talking about their life, their work, their how they are in a relationship and how they work together. She said, "I just want to be myself. My aim is not to prove anything or convince anyone. This is between God and me." And yes, so welcome, Ana Maria Oliva.
It's my pleasure being here, Laura. I didn't remember that I said that, but it matches a lot with me.
Yeah. It's easier for me to remember because I saw the panel just a few days ago.
Yeah.
Because during the conference, I don't get with me so much. Except the family camp where I am at, but that's the way it goes. And yeah, please, could you present yourself for those that see you for the first time and doesn't know anything about you, probably?
So yes, of course, I'm a woman. I was born in Barcelona half a century ago, a little bit more. I'm a very curious person, and I just like trying to understand how things work. But I'm also a very sensitive person, so I think that in quite a good balance between my mind and my sensitivity. I don't fight against the things I know just because I know them. I don't need to understand everything, although I have a lot of pleasure understanding things. So my brain is normally very active. I studied many things. I studied engineering, mechanical engineering, then I did a biomedical engineering, then I did a PhD in biomedicine. I've been devoted to understand life from a less materialistic point of view. Even being mechanical engineering, I like the energy. What I specialize is in energies, in the electromagnetic field. So I did my PhD in that, in how the electromagnetic field affects life in both ways, because we cannot separate the both sides of a coin. One is the electrotherapy and the other is electropollution. So I've been in biomedical research the last 20 years, trying to propose new things connected with health, to get a little bit out of this such a materialistic perception that everything is biochemical, and understanding that everything that is biochemical is also energetic. So sometimes, since there is a hierarchy, and the hierarchy is information, energy, matter is the last step, sometimes by changing the things in a higher level, it's easier to recover our power. So yeah, and I am a mom of two teens, twins. And I just try to live in fullness as much as I can, and share with people what I know, because this is what I love. We created the Living University of Terrain to teach all these things that normally you don't find in the regular universities. And this is what we do. Just sharing with people our knowledge and continue. One of the things that we do, and I think that we do it quite nicely, is that we share a lot the knowledge between all the teachers that we have in the university. So we are trying to remove all the inconsistencies that we can find in science. So we are definitely creating a new space in science in which we can discuss in a healthy way, and we can get closer to the truth. So this is what we do.
Yeah, that's really exciting. The only thing, is it true that most of the courses are like in Spanish on the academy. So
Yeah,
and as I understood from several interviews or your speech at the Anarchapulco, or as Adam is presenting you, you are a known person in the Spanish-speaking world. well, like for example, for me, it was a bit difficult to find so much interviews or you talking in English. I unfortunately don't speak so much Spanish.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I wanted to ask you, like, I think that many people that are coming to Anarchapulco and in general in world, or at least among those people that I know, they feel that we can often hear this, okay, you have to find your true self. You work better if you find this, as you say, myself. And for those that hasn't found it yet, or don't feel exactly that they have found it, it sometimes can be very challenging, and even it can be quite irritating to hear this, because the task sometimes can feel so difficult. And when you say that you just want to be you, and then I kind of feel that you have found at least some part of yourself. Can you maybe tell how you did it? How
Yeah,
was your
of course.
way, and how you can tell that you are in the harmony, or that you have found the balance in this dynamics that is life? Because when something changes, you have to find the balance again. And then sometimes, I guess, from days when we feel low and maybe that, oh no, I cannot achieve this what I want, then it makes us think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, and I also go like sometimes like this, like a wave, but it's a little bit like the ocean, that you are in the surface. If you are in the surface of yourself, there is always waves, and there are a lot of things that can take you out of balance. But if you swim a little bit deeper, there is more peace. And that's the key, that there can be a lot of things happening in the surface, but you need to know how to dive a little bit. This has been the journey of my whole life, Laura, because I've been struggling my whole life. I didn't understand what was this about, and what was I doing here on the surface of the earth, and say, what is life about? I mean, I have no idea. And I suffered a lot when I was a teen. And when I was younger, I was suffering a lot. Probably that was what made me try to find other things. And my journey was like, let's say, just trying to suffer less in general, because I was suffering a lot my whole life, probably because I'm very sensitive, because I didn't understand how things were working. I found myself like the black sheep everywhere. I think that many people can resonate with that. And I was not finding my way. So then I decided to say, okay, I'm just going to try to do what makes me happy. It's very simple, and at the same time not so simple. So I was, every time in front of a decision, was what makes me feel better. And it can sound a little bit strange, but by following that, I got used to follow my heart a little bit more and my head a little bit less. And of course, there are things that work and things that don't work, and it's about observing. I have had a lot of strange experiences and many interesting people in my life that had helped me a lot. But at the beginning was just respecting myself, respecting what I was feeling at that moment, that was the right thing. Even if it was a mistake, it doesn't matter. But at least I was kind of finding my own truth, instead of just following whatever was the standard that you were expected to do or to be. So was trying to find my inner voice from the the easiest thing, I mean, the even eating, what can you eat that makes you feel better? Then you learn that this feeling better is not such a superficial thing that is just a short pleasure. Then you start checking that what sometimes give you a very, I don't know, a lot of sugar and it makes you feel good in a moment, but then you crash, and then you learn how to regulate. But my journey has been a very like observing myself and just trying to follow what I thought it was what I wanted, and then just discarding all the rest until it came a moment that I realized that, yeah, I can feel good with myself when I do certain things. And I'm an engineer, as my first degree is in engineering. So let's say I start with what I can touch always. So it was like, okay, what happened if I do, what can I do so as I feel good? But good in a deep way, in a deep feeling, not just good because I'm eating an ice cream and makes me feel good for a short time. Yeah, that too. But then you realize that there are other things that makes you feel good in a more lasting way. So I started doing things just because they made me feel good. And I realized that what made me feel good in a lasting way was not something, I don't know. Yes, I was flying in parapente. I don't know the name in English. Like when you have this that you just run on the cliff and choo, and then fly with a like.
Oh yeah, like this. Yeah, I know what you
Like a
mean.
parachute. I don't
Yes,
know
yes,
the
yes.
name. I would call it parapente. That they have this shape like this, and you
Yes.
just fly. Okay, yeah, that makes you a lot of adrenaline, but after that, it's like, oh yeah, I did it, and what else, So I did a lot of strange things trying to find myself, and even I travel and I find some shamans, and I did, I explore many parts of myself until I realized that life was much more simple. Was like just try to do your best wherever you are, and that's it. That's my journey has been a little bit unusual. It's been a little bit unusual, and it was about being very honest with myself. Do I really want to do this? No. Do I have to negotiate with myself because this is it and I cannot change? Okay, but let's prepare things in a way that I can be creating the life I want for myself. The question is, what do you want? That's always a question.
I often myself, I often feel the probably contradiction between what I feel that I maybe would like to do and how it gives me income,
Yeah.
like financial support, because it sometimes can be a bit challenging as well.
Absolutely.
So did you start like working for yourself after you were fired because you were the weird scientist, or you worked for somebody else in the beginning of your career?
I started working for other people, and I was like 10 years being an employee. Then I had a really strong, like, let's say, awakening or something like that, that basically was my whole world destroyed and burned in fire. My whole world, everything I knew was totally destroyed. And I had to start again from scratch, building myself, my beliefs, and my everything, and my relationships and everything. And then, this has happened a couple times. So what was the question? Sorry. Now I went to my past and I just connected with it.
Like, for example, when your world got destroyed and everything burned and you had to restore yourself again, how did you manage that financially? Because this is, I think, until you find something that works, being in harmony with yourself and at the same time being independent financially, so you can actually do what you want. It can be difficult journey.
Absolutely. Yes, this has happened twice. The first time that happened, I was lucky because at that moment I was working for many years, and I bought a little apartment in Barcelona where I was living. So I bought a little apartment. So when this first crash happened, I sold it, and that gave me the little buffer I needed to reinvent myself. Because at that moment, I sold my apartment and I moved to Colombia. And I was living in Colombia a couple of years, and I totally reinvented myself in a way that I could start again in a totally different way. But this happens again a second time. And that second time, I just had to trust my wings. It was like, the image of having a tree, a branch, and you have a bird that is there. It's just, yeah, thank you. You have the branch and you have the bird, and it's just there. It's quiet and it's peaceful, not because it trusts the tree, because it trusts his wings, And this second time that I crashed economically was... I just had to say, okay, I trust life, I trust myself, I know that I can move forward because I'm a human being, I can create. So I started again from zero, and now we are there. Sometimes better, sometimes worse, and sometimes in a very thin line economically. But I really trust that we can create a lot of abundance. I'm still not sure how to do it. but but we're doing enough. It's like, for me, it came a moment that I didn't even think about money. It was like, I know it's going to get out and come in. It's going to come out and come in, and come out, always in that order. First come out and then come in. So I learned trusting life. I say, I'm a human being, I'm a creator, I can create, and I don't need so much to live. So why I'm going, look at nature. Look at nature. Nature is pure abundance everywhere you look at, everywhere. So it's only just connect again with that. Don't connect with scarcity. Don't connect with your fears. Don't connect with, the wall is going to crash and we're going to just, can be. And what's the problem? It's like this is just, it also plays there, Laura, the spiritual part of ourselves. When people, let's come back a little bit. When I was starting working in health, and people were telling me I was kind of debunking the contagion. I said, no, forget about that. You don't get sick because the person next to you is sick. Unless there are many circumstances, many things that has to happen so as you get sick because of sitting beside someone that is sick. You are the owner of your own health. And I was doing a lot of work in the contagion. So then people say, so then why do you get sick? Okay, and the answer is, how many parts of you do you recognize? Because if you only recognize the biochemical part of you, then you get sick just because your diet, and you hyper-focus in your diet, or then you believe that there are bugs that are going to attack you, and then you are hyper-focused in an extreme hygiene that is going to kill your skin, and that makes no sense at all. But how many parts of you do you recognize? Do you recognize that you have emotions? And that emotions, they also have a biochemical part that can make you sick? Do you recognize that you have a mind, and the result of your thoughts, again, you have a biochemistry that is going to make you be in peace or being totally unbalanced? So how many parts of you do you recognize? And that, for me, is the most important thing, being able to see yourself, but to fully see it, not just the skin of yourself. Knowing yourself enough to know what are your needs. And once you are there, you can really connect with the grandiosity of what you are. Because you can move from the biochemistry to the energy, the electromagnetic fields. Yeah, why do we get sick? Because we are all the time on the phone, because we live in front of a tower. Yes, but it's also your emotions, and it's also your mind, and it's also your spiritual life. If you think that this is it, and there is no purpose in your life, you're going to be sick your whole life. So for me, everything is about knowing yourself, and it's about trusting yourself too, because you're alive. I've been alive until now. I've been able to survive 55 years. Wow, so not so bad. What makes me believe that I'm going to fail now? No, I trust life. I know I'm part of it. I know. And there is also like my spiritual part there, Laura. I really know I'm the little kids, God's kids. I don't know how to say that in English. I feel God's kids. I'm here. I'm exploring. I'm creating. I'm bringing back to God everything I create, and I trust. I'm sustained. I don't have to look at this. I don't have to work hard so as my body works. Basically, I don't have to do almost anything. Just eat some food, sleep, things that are easy to do. But the rest, my body is so wise. They can do the things so wonderfully. They know exactly when to put this neurotransmitter, when to raise the pH or to put it down or do this or increase the fever. My body knows how to do the thing. So why I'm concerned? I just need to trust a little bit more each one of my parts, in all the parts that I know. And then life becomes easier. It becomes easier. And if we all had that feeling of being here like God's kids, everything is easier for me. When I'm in that situation, I can be more playful, and that's it. So for me, it has been always, how many parts of you do you recognize and how to take care of each one of them? This is the rule of my life, is how many parts of you do you recognize? And then how do you take care of that? And taking care of that goes again from each one of the parts. You have the biochemical, but you have the energetic and the electromagnetic and the emotional and the mental and the spiritual. How do you take care of your spiritual life? Because otherwise, that is what I call being sick, when one of those parts are not in balance.
Yes, this is, in a way, I guess most of our audience might say that, yes, we have heard this, we are aware of this, but probably, or I'm sure it varies, it depends on each person how we manage to acknowledge and observe and be true to all those layers or all those bodies, as in anthroposophy, like the philosophy that is in the basics of the Steiner or Waldorf pedagogy. There is this belief that we have several bodies, like the physical and astral and the higher self. And I have been knowing this for a while, but it's one thing to know it with the head, and another thing is to trust and actually observe it. But what I wanted to know is, so you have been working with these bio or electromagnetic fields, and you have managed to take like a pictures of those fields, and you have tried out several things, like how different actions or emotions affect our field.
Yeah.
And being a mom of two kids as well that are a bit younger than your boys, and one thing that is what we as a parents, for example, what we want for them, what we try to offer them and or introduce them to, and the other things are the world outside, friends and their families, and I have had this question for a while. There are, for example, if our family is very aware what we are eating, for example, that we try to eat like real food, that we try to cook at home, we try to really don't buy food with different additives and lots of chemical stuff in it. And then our kids have some friends that their families, they don't care about that so much. And it has been a bit difficult for us, for me and my husband. Like, okay, what do we do about that? Or can we do something about it? Is it worse to, for example, tell them, please don't eat all this, or don't drink the soda with aspartame in it, or don't eat so much candies, or and being worried about this all the time, or instead accepting, okay, that's how it is. If my kid is going there, that's how it's gonna be. I can talk to my kid, but I don't want him or her to feel like worried about the food all the time, being so they haven't been like this, but I have seen that me and Chris, we have been a bit more like, okay, what did you eat? What did you do? Did you play computer games for 3 hours again?
Yeah, I know.
And what has been your conclusion in this, because you have been studying this, how things affect our health, our electromagnetic fields? What would you suggest, for example, in situations like this?
I can talk to you about my experience as a mom too. I mean, there are certain things that are a clear no. And there is no way. That's not negotiable. For example, that kids play with computers when they are very young, it's a no. And that they are.
And what do you mean by very young?
I could tell you that before 7, no way. But this is me. This is my way of doing it. This is the same that giving a kid that is 7 years, that is less than 7, and then 7, look at this. It's the same. I mean, the computers, we need to know that the games and the screens in general, I say computers, but we mean tablets or video games or things like that, or these videos that they do for kids. This is the shot of dopamine that they give them is like a drug. It's the same response that cocaine. I have to tell you. I mean, people don't want to know that, but it's the same shot that if they were taking cocaine. So giving a kid, and I'm just finishing publishing a book that is called Digital Hygiene, that has to do with that. And so giving a kid a screen with the content or playing is the same that giving them the key of the minibar where you have all the alcohol and say, just drink whatever you want. No, you cannot do that. This is one of the things that is a big concern to me, the use of technologies with the kids, because you have one side is the technology itself, the radiations and all the physiological effects that the radiation has on your health. And then just because of radiation, just because of electromagnetic fields, and then the content that creates these shots of dopamine that is totally messing up with all the hormonal system of the kids. So there are certain things that is a real no. I mean, when they were doing parties with the school, the kids, and my question was always, are they screens? Because if they are screens, this is a big no. So I was trying to teach the families, don't let them play video games, don't let them use screens, because first of all, video games are designed to just capture your attention and trigger all kind of hormonal responses, so as you get addicted to that, and it messes with your attention, and everything that messes with your attention messes with your memory and with your ability to think, your critical thinking. So you don't want that. Is that if people were aware of the damage that the screens do on kids, they would never let them use a cell phone before they are 14. And they would never put the TV unless you check very well and you look with them and you see what it is. Because there is no content in certain channels that they talk about a normal family. I'm sorry for this, because other people can think that normal can be many different things, but it's like everything is inverted. Everything is Is the radiation, is the content, is the attention spam, is the craziness that they create is really crazy. So when there are certain things that for me are a real no. For example, I didn't let my kids to sleep out of the house when they were very young or younger, unless I knew exactly who they go and what are they going to do, because that's my responsibility as a mom to take care of them. Other things have been like, okay, if you go to a party and they give you the typical bag with sweets, that I don't want them to eat that, because I know the effect of sugar and it's going to create this and then rush, it's going to be a crash. So I was negotiating with them. So I was saying, okay, you give me this and I give you this other thing that I know you want. So, for example, during many years, I was trading all the time, all the sugar, all the candies, and all the things that they were receiving. I was trading that for a little toy that they wanted, or something, some pencils to draw, or something that or more Legos. Legos, they always work with boys. So it was like, okay, let's do one thing. Look, this is not the best thing for you, for your health. And I want to trade that for these other things. So they were very happy to do that, especially because I did that since they were younger. So they were trained to that. They came back with a bag of candies and they received something instead. There was an exchange. Then it came Halloween. And when we started celebrating Halloween, that was very recently, because we moved to Mexico, and in Spain there is no Halloween.
There is no
and
Halloween
then it was
in
like
Spain.
No.
Is that true?
There was no. Now is everything has changed, but Halloween has never been something that we celebrated in Spain.
No, it hasn't been in Latvia, where I'm originally from, or in Norway, where we live. But last, I don't know how many years, it's been just crazy. It's like really difficult. It's best to just take a trip to some place, I don't know.
Yeah. But for example, my kids now, these last years, they trick or treat. They go and they come home with a whole bag of candies. We arrive home, we check them, we look at them, we count them. And I just trade that for a chocolate bar or something like that. And they're happy. Because this is how it has been.
Okay,
this is how it has been.
Your boys are really, really
but this is how I train. No, this is how I train them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is like the Pavlov's things training, since kids. I was like, no, this, I change this. I give you some chocolate or give you something that you really want, and now it's getting more difficult. But at the same time, at least during many years, they've been, let's say, safer. I mean, we need to know that we are responsible of them, and the kids don't understand speeches. They don't need to know. For me, it's better that they really think that they can trust life when they are very young. It's not, you don't need to prevent them and tell them, oh, this is dangerous. Oh, this is dangerous. No, that's your role as an adult to take care of them. But they need to feel that they can relax, that they can be themselves, that they are safe. Then it's our job that everything is safe. And so for me, it has been like this, trying to manage a little bit. There are things that are clear. No way. I'm not going to let you do this. I'm sorry. But then other things that you can negotiate. So, for example, with the candies at home, it was, let's say, easy. Because at the beginning, I was giving them just like erasers, like these things or things like this. You give me a candy and I give you a pen with an eraser here that has a nice shape of the Paw Patrol or whatever was trendy at that moment. Kind of trying to manage that in a different way, because they don't understand big explanations, and they can be easier or they can be more difficult depending on them. Sometimes you want to take something and change and they don't want. So you need to be creative about that, and then being very assertive and say, no, I'm not going to give you this because this is a poison for you. That's it. No big explanations, because at least my kids don't accept it, big explanations. So, and it's been navigating. But as moms or as parents, I think that we need to have very clear that sugar is poison for them. in big amounts. I mean, one thing is that you eat a dessert, or this is one thing, but these candies, they are not good for them. They totally mess with all the biology, and the same with the screens. So you are the responsible. You have to be strong the same way that you are not going to let them smoke. Can you imagine a 5 years old kid smoking and your parents letting them, or drinking tequila? No, that is something that is no way. So we need to realize that now there are other modern threats that we need to protect them, and then train them, and then make them strong. And I know that sometimes has been like going against, and can I go with these people? Can I go to sleep over with this? No, sorry. With this family, I'm sorry, you don't say that way. You don't say no with this family. You say, you invent whatever thing. And if it's necessary, we go out that weekend so that we can tell that you cannot go because we have another thing. Because you know that that family is going to give them a lot of candies, or a lot of sugar, or a lot of trash things that you don't want. And they are not going to sleep. And next day they are going to be destroyed. And you know that what is going to happen because you are the adult. So it's a navigation all the time, and it's being very aware of what your kids are doing all the time. It's the same with the TV. I mean, we shouldn't let them just watch whatever they want, because unfortunately, most of the contents they can watch today are garbage, and are just designed to make you addict to the screen. And you can see that because they totally changed their mood, and they became like anxious, and then they have no tolerance to frustration, and then it's a mess. And then you have to deal with that and say, no, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you this shot of sugar so as you are super high and then you crash, and then I have to deal with that. No way. Let's do it easier. But that requires spending much more time with them and doing many more things, probably outdoors. And I think that is a big challenge as moms, because I'm a worker, I'm a hard worker, sometimes I'm a workaholic. So it's like you need to be very conscious. You have kids, so it's your responsibility to raise them. Don't let them with the TV babysitter, because then you will be surprised with what they tell you.
So since you mentioned this, being a parent is a responsibility and a choice, how we do things as a parent. You have also this something that is called how do you call it in Spanish? Because it's called in Spanish. Yeah, can you tell it about the education?
Vivas.
Yes,
Escuelas Vivas. Yeah, this is like living school or something like that. You know, we always like putting this living thing, like that is all the time changing. So we detected a need in Spain specifically because, you know, the education is a very hot topic. Education in Spain, for example, is mandatory. You have to, otherwise they take your kids. They bring them to an orphanage or whatever if you don't bring them to school. But they don't tell you what kind of school you have to do. So there was a need of supporting people that they were trying to homeschool their kids. Although homeschooling in Spain is illegal, it's not illegal, but it's not legal either. It's in the middle. It's in the twilight zone. You know. So we decided to create a program that could support the parents that they wanted to teach their own kids. Like the typical homeschooling that everywhere in the world is legal, in Spain is a little bit like that. And there is no much culture of that in Spain. So what we created was this program that is a homeschooling program, but it's not for the kids. The kids shouldn't be on the screens. This is teaching the parents how to teach the kids. So what we do is we have all the primary school that are 6 years, and you have week by week the content of everything that you should explain to your kids, how, why, and then you have a person that is a mentor that is going to meet with you, so as you can ask, I don't know how to do this, or this has worked and this doesn't, and whatever. You know, you have 3 things. One of them is the curriculum, is the whole curriculum, week by week. everything with all the learning activities and everything. This has been a massive work. It's been amazing, but we did it. And then you have a mentor that is with you as a mom or as a dad or as a teacher, seeing how to adapt that to your needs. And then you have the accreditation for our school in Texas. We have a school in Texas that can give you this, like the reports and everything, so as everything is legal, and then you can bring into your whatever you need. You have the back covered because there is a legal school that is supporting that. This is called the Escuelas Vivas, like the living school. And we have some families. We have at this moment 31 families that we are working with. And we are doing these programs from first grade to sixth, so from 6 to 12 years, more or less, for the moment. And what we want is that all those families that really want to, be sovereign in the education of their kids. This is not for everybody, because many people are okay sending the kids to the school, and they are okay because they have nice schools close. Not all the school that school of fish, schooling, everything goes to the same place, like uniform and not thinking. And we can talk a lot about the Prussian school and everything. But there are people that don't need that, but there are other people that they want something different for their kids. So there is this possibility. It's only in Spanish at this moment because this is what we could do. We have no funding. We have no money. We have to do everything always from our pockets. And it's not easy to create things when you don't have an economic solid thing. But we trust life. We just build brick by brick, and we trust that tomorrow the sun is going to get out again, and we will have our own the money that we need to continue growing. So this is what we do. We support families that want to homeschool their kids, and we give them the whole curriculum and the mentor that is helping them to apply that in their family and fix the problems, solve the problems, and we give them the legal accreditation so as they can present that in case they need it. So this is what we do. That was kind of a soul, something that my soul was saying, do this. And I said, I don't have time, and it's so much work, and I don't know how to do that. And then the universe was continue telling me, do it. And I said, but I don't know how. And then it came a crazy woman that is as crazy as I am. And she says, I go with you. And so she started creating all the curriculums, and we're there just saying why I did complicate in my life so much. I could have a much easier life and much more relaxed life, but because of whatever reason, then you see these families. And I remember 2 weeks after starting the school in September, because we have 2 calendars. One is like the North calendar that goes from September to July, and then we have the South calendar that goes from March to December. And after 2 weeks of starting, one family said, you know what? Since we are working with you at home, we yell less and we sing more. I said, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So just because of that is worth all the nightmares and all the things that we have to struggle with. But
yeah, that is really a pity that there are actually several countries in Europe. I know in France it's almost impossible now, and in Sweden it's illegal, and in Germany it's also quite difficult. So many countries where it's very difficult to do homeschooling, even if a family finds the time and resource to do that. But
this legal part is a nightmare for me, because I'm not a person. I can be a warrior in terms of I'm a creator. I love creating content. I love creating things, projects. I'm not so much a warrior, but thank God I have a partner that he's a warrior. He doesn't care about judges and then having these legal papers, and he's okay with that. I say, oh, thank God, because I get crazy with this legal part, but he's not. And it's a pity, because at least in Spain, what they don't want is that you don't attend your kids. This is one thing, that you let your kids alone. This is not nice. This is not, this is what they should take care of. that you take care of your kids. But how do you do that? That's up to you. So we have some families that are struggling legally because of this. But for the moment, the only thing that the law says is that you cannot, not attending your kids. But if you demonstrate that you're attending them, that they are in school, that you are teaching, that you are having the support, that you have your, theoretically, it shouldn't be a problem. But you always have the law there bothering you all the time, and that's a nightmare. It's just. So
that makes life really difficult for those families, I'm sure.
Totally. Yes. And they are warriors because they go and they present the things and we present the things. And for the moment, everything is okay. Because the only thing in Spain, what they don't want is that you have your kids unattended. Mm-hmm. But if you can demonstrate that you are attending them and you are giving them right education, and there is a gap, there is a legal gap there. Let's see if they are going to fill it now that they know that there is a gap.
Yeah, we'll see. Luckily, things like bureaucratical things can happen a bit slow. So even if they're gonna do that, they're gonna take some time, some longer time than shorter. But can you share with us, like, how do you? Because I met your boys last year at Anarchapulco at the family camp. They are such nice boys. They are nice to be with. They have their passions, and yeah, at least to me, they seemed like really easygoing kids, and the kids in general that come to Anarchapulco somehow, they tend to make a crowd that is active and fun, and they can tease each other in a good way. But if something happens, if somebody falls, if somebody hurts oneself, the crowd stops and asks, "Oh, are you okay? Do you need help?" That was really nice to observe during the Anarchapulco conference. But how do you manage this, being in your thing, in science, in researching different things, and at the same time being like strict about things and negotiating things, and making your kid's life, or I don't know, supporting your kid's life to be fun and creative and enjoyable as at the same time. It can sometimes be very, very difficult, especially when you cannot just also, like, the most important thing for them, I guess, are friends. And then there is this question again, okay, where is the family of the friends at? What are their values and principles, and how they do things? Can you share a bit how you manage this?
Yeah, so a little bit crazy sometimes because it's been, and my story, Laura, has not been easy because I divorced from the father when they were 2.5. So I've been alone with them for many years, and at the beginning I was working at the clinic and I was overworking so much. And so I had less time, but since they are 6, I think it was, that I started reducing the time at the clinic and just getting a little bit similar to their schedule at the school. I was trying to always work at the same time that they were at the school. Sometimes in Spain, the school was at until 5 p.m., which is a lot. But they were playing a lot there too. And so then they finish at 2 or at 3. So I was like also reducing my incomes, but being more time with them, because that's my responsibility. This is how I perceive it. So it's been a journey. It's not been easy. It's not easy today. What I do is that I organize my whole agenda according to their agenda. which is not easy, because that means that sometimes I have to control myself a lot, because probably I have something that is urgent that I have to do, but my kids are at home and I have to deal with them. And that's my biggest responsibility, because if I realize that there have been periods of time in which I was prioritizing, let's say, the work, because that is the income too, but then I pay the price with them. So I have very clear that I brought them to life, or they came through me, but it's my responsibility. So they are my priority. That doesn't mean, it means that I have reorganized my whole life to be able to spend the afternoons with them when they come from school. And also to organize with some friends to bring them to school, but we do kind of carpool stuff, but never delegating totally, because that space at the car is a space that is sacred, because they tell me so many things when they are in the back and I'm in the front and they don't see my eyes, but they explain me so many things that is a treasure. So, and my life has been very unusual, and their lives have been very unusual, because we've moved many times from one house, first because I divorced, then because I had a different job, and always following a little bit the economical balance. And then we moved to Mexico. So my poor kids, they haven't had a big stability as I wanted to give them. We've been we are a team, that's very clear. We are a team, because the only thing that is stable in their life, it's me. The rest has been changing all the time. So this has also created a very strong bond with me. And so we are really a team, and I think we trust each other, and I've learned to trust them a lot, because I see them and I see their potential, and I see how beautiful souls are, and I really trust them. I really trust them. There are some times that I can be concerned as a mom, that, be careful with this, or don't do that, but I really see them. They are so nice guys, that is awesome to share the life. But it is reorganizing my whole life to just be many hours with them. It's not just the quality time. This is something I'm totally against. When people say, oh, no, the important is the quality time. No, it's the quantity of time. Forget about the quality. Quality is very nice. But what the kids need is you being there. Doesn't matter if I'm cooking or I'm doing other things, but being there with them. Luckily now, thank God, we found a house in a neighborhood in which they can just get out and run, because at this age, boys always need to run all the time. So they can run free, and they know that I'm always there. So it's been a nightmare, Laura. I mean, it's been so difficult to combine everything. I was so exhausted most of the time. But I think it's worth all the time you spend with your kids, and you get to know them and they get to know you, and you set the clear boundaries. And at the same time, you learn to trust them as they are growing up. All this is a blessing. I mean, I'm so proud of my kids. I love them so much. I trust them so much. And I think they also trust me a lot. And this is something you build with time, not with quality time, with quantity time, even if it's no quality at all, because I'm doing other things and they're doing, but it's the fact that they know you are there. For me, this is a little bit like a lie from the society, saying that the important thing was the quality of time. And I said, no, I'm sorry. In my experience, it's not only the quality. Quality is necessary, but quantity is more necessary. So I started bringing my kids to a lot of after school things, just so as I could have more time. And now they just do one activity a week, because the rest of the time it's good that they are at home. It's good that they get bored. It's good that they just find other things to do. And it's also true, Laura, that what makes a big difference is that they are twins. So they are never alone. This is also very
twins
helpful.
that are friends.
Yes.
Because our two kids, they are two, but they need rest from each other sometimes. And yes, so that makes life a bit different.
Well, it's also like trying to understand my kids. What they've done is that they have differentiated to the extreme. Even being twins, if you see and you know them, they are like the sun and the moon, because they have found this way of finding themselves being different from the other. So they have developed exactly the opposite that the other has done. One is super mental and intellectual, the other is super physical. But I think that has been like a strategy so as each one of them could find their own spot, and yeah, sometimes they fight too. But yeah, they love each other a lot. They play so nice together. Sometimes.
Yeah. But that's how it is. That was what one of the I don't remember her name, but on this couples panel from last year at Anarchapulco, this one lady, she said that she really appreciated in her partner this how they could fight, that they could fight with respect, but that they absolutely fight, and that they and that the important thing is how you react after the fight, how you come together and how you talk about things, and yes, and do you respect the other part and stuff. And that
it is interesting. Sorry,
yeah.
Laura, that I interrupt you, because the other day my kids are getting 13 now, so just twins. Yeah, just teens now. And the other day I was talking to them because, sometimes they have these mood changes and this, teenager stuff. And I was telling them, you know what, guys, you have to understand our family, or for you, being here is like being in a dojo, the dojo of the martial arts, where you practice things. You are allowed to get upset. You are allowed to be crazy for a moment. You are in a dojo. You are safe here. We are safe. We don't take anything personal. We know that we are practicing for life. We are getting trained. We are learning movements. We are learning how to do the things. This is a safe spot for you. With respect, there are some rules in the dojo of martial arts. There is also some rules. There is a master, and there is a respect, and there is discipline, and there are things. So I was telling them that, and I think they got it. That you are in a safe place, but this doesn't mean that there are no rules. So I can argue with you. I can get upset with you, knowing that this is a dojo. We are practicing for life. We are learning about ourselves. We are learning about relationships. We are learning about how to do and not to do the things. And this is a safe place for you or for me. So how do you see that? But there are rules. It's not like everything works. So we can get upset. I can argue with you from a position of respect, and knowing that this helps me to know myself a little bit better, and helps you to understand what can be done and what cannot be done. So sometimes some images can help us. I love that idea of being able to confront your ideas with someone. In science, we call that discussion.
Yeah.
And it's normal. It's mandatory. It's mandatory to discuss your ideas, and sometimes in a very passionate way, because it's the only way to find where are the leaks, where are the inconsistencies, where are the incoherence. It's the only way.
Yeah,
sometimes.
that was also one of the things. I'm not a scientist. I'm not. I have never been in this, but I remember there was this COVID times, and I was not so much into. Before that, I was not so much into maybe thinking so much about what is right, what is wrong in at least in what some kind of specialist mean. But that was very very weird for me, that that every time when some doctor or someone started to ask questions, there was no discussion. It was not possible. And those doctors that asked questions loud enough, they got in trouble. And that was also when I first time in my life I felt like, okay, I'm not a scientist, but I thought that science is about asking questions and arguing. And how can it be that in a moment where it feels like this has never been before, and nobody knows exactly how to do things in the best way. There is not there is not this freedom to ask any questions and doubt any of those those mandatory things that were put on the people and in the society. That was really, really weird to me, and that actually made me think much more about, okay, what is really happening. So maybe we could move into you're coming to Anarchapulco this time again. That's really great. And could you maybe share a bit what you will be talking about?
Yes, we talk about health because this is what we love, and health is the natural state of your being. This is what you are when nobody messes up so much with you. So it's about, we're going to call it a little bit like breaking the spell, because we've been told that you get sick because of medical statistics or because something is attacking you, or there are so many spells out there. The 2020 was a total spell. They were making so many things in the name of science when there was no science behind that. It was totally against the common sense. All the measurements they took were totally against the common sense for any practitioner. That made no sense at all. And it's like this is like being under a spell. They tell you, oh, there is a big threat. Nobody has isolated that. Nobody has ever seen it. But you have to be at home. I said, but nature is what heals us. So why do I have to be at home without sun, without nature, just being in fear? So we're going to talk about this breaking the spell, how health is not a medical action, is not something that someone can make you sick or someone can make you healthy. It's you. It's you with your actions. It's you with your decisions. It's you with your lifestyle who chooses health or disease, because everything is about you, what you eat, what you do, the sport you do. But it's also about, I normally call it, how many parts of you do you recognize? Because if you only recognize the biochemical, then you are going to put a lot of energy in your food. You are going to be obsessed with your food and your diet and this but then you probably don't take care of the electromagnetic stuff, or it can be that you are hyper focused in the electromagnetic and you forget about the rest. So I always say, how many parts of you do you recognize, and how to take care of each one of those parts? Because we are very complex people. Animals don't get sick so easily. Animals, not pets, but wild animals, if they get sick, they die immediately because there is no purpose for them. But for human beings, sometimes being out of balance is a way to question our life and to grow as human beings. So how many parts of you do you recognize? We are going to talk about health and how to be healthy. But what does health mean? Is health just the absence of diseases, which is a negative definition? Or is health a positive and natural expression of life? And what does it mean? So we love talking about that. We love talking about health is something you build or you destroy with your daily life, with your lifestyle. It's not something that someone is going to give you. I always say nothing cures no one, and no one cures no one. Health is something you build with your decisions, and your decisions are based on what? How many parts of you do you recognize? Physical, energetic, electromagnetic, emotional, mental, spiritual. We need to take care of all those. Steiner called them 4 bodies. I normally put 7, just to put like different layers that we can have some ideas of how can we take care of that. That is one of the things that I love sharing, because this is what really makes you sovereign of your life, what makes you, as far as you can, of being a victim of nature. We've been trained saying that nature is dangerous. There are so many viruses there going to attack you. And no, forget about that. Nature is cooperation and it's symbiosis. There is nothing attacking you. It's only you, your beliefs attacking you, and they're not even your beliefs, are they imposed beliefs. So we need to come back to understand how the body really works and how many parts of you you can recognize and how to take care of each one of those parts, then you are real sovereign on your life and your health. And we work a lot in this health sovereignty in terms of knowing yourself, knowing your body, knowing the different structures that we call body, or the different bodies, and what do they need and how to take care of them. This is for me the most important thing, because you can be your whole life blaming. Look, the people that only consider, like the Flexner report, 1907, it was when the Rockefeller Foundation, through the Carnegie Foundation, they create this report that it totally changed the medicine. So from now on, the only thing that exists is biochemistry. And the only treatments we can do is pharmacology or surgery. This was a decision that someone, random guy, said, this is going to be like that. Guess who was? Rockefeller, of course. So before that, we had other medicine. Don't think that the medicine we have today is the normal evolution of the medicine that through the years or the centuries. It's not. It was a cut. And they say, all this doesn't work. We're going to burn the books. And if we can, we are going to kill the people that are doing this. And we're just going to impose something based on chemistry. But it was the same petrochemistry that they were working with, So we need to come back to, that was like a big hijack of the medicine. We need to come back to what is real medicine, is the art of preserving life. What is life? What is life? How do we express life? Because we are not just biological machines. We are not biological robots that are fighting, like we've been told, oh no, this is a fight for survival. What a fight. Just observe. You have your lettuces, and from one lettuce, then they start sprouting, and you have 200 seeds. And if you plant them, you will have 100 lettuces. What is scarcity? What is fight? This is not how life works. So we just need to come back to understand how life works and how to take care of ourselves. But that means we need to get rid of this hyper-materialistic perception in which we are just biochemistry. And not only that, because all our medicine is based on a very mechanicistic thing. So they want to compare nature with a mechanism, which is so ridiculous. Laura, I bought my kids a bike when they were 3. And when they were 6, I had to give that bikes to the neighbors because they grew up, but the bike didn't. So how can you compare life with mechanisms? And our whole medicine is based on that. So there are so many things to rethink and so many things to relearn, because we've been under a big spell that has told us that we are machines, that this machine makes mistakes so bad that once you are born, in the same moment that you've been born, they have to inject you things because you are not able to survive otherwise. And say, what? What makes you believe that my body makes mistakes when you haven't even checked anything? Just born, they inject the kids things. Why? If you didn't even know if they need it or not. And I tell you, they don't need it. And then in the first year of life, how many shots? Why?
Yeah, it's quite terrifying. If one starts to think, yes.
It's a spell, Laura. It's a spell. We've been under a spell that your body makes diseases, that someone from outside has to take care of you. No, life is amazing. Your body is amazing. You don't have to think about anything. And your body knows how to raise the pH or put it lower or do this or increase the heartbeat. Or your body knows. Why don't you trust that? Why are you always wanting to mess up with everything that your body's doing? Look at our medicine. Our medicine is just an anti-everything. Anti. All the medicines are just anti.
I have seen on our family members that have had, for example, cancer, and they have said, okay, I trust the doctor. I know I trust that the doctor is going to do the best. And now that the person is totally wrecked and nobody cares because the person gave their responsibility of their health to others. And I know that you also advocate for that we all need to be our own health practitioners and be responsible for our health ourselves. And if we're not gonna be interested, who gonna be? It's really amazing to get to know people like you, because in this I know before I was starting to come to Anarchapulco myself, it could be difficult to find the alternatives, because okay, where do you go? You can go to a homeopathy. That was a possibility, but also there you have to be lucky sometimes to meet the right practitioner. So I'm really, really excited that you are guys coming, and I hope to see your boys.
Yes,
as
they're
well.
excited. They are just counting the days. How many days, Mom? When are we leaving?
Yeah, that's really great. We need to round up right now, and I would like to ask you: would you like to tell us what you yourself, if you don't think about your speech exactly, what makes you happy about coming to an Acapulco conference?
Well, Anarchapulco, we went last year and was the biggest discovery in my life. I mean, I was so happy to be there, so thrilled that I could be myself without hiding, because I was surrounded by people that were as crazy as I consider myself. Because, my whole life being labeled as crazy and anti-system and everything, I say, oh, there is a crowd here, that there are free souls like I am. It was so nice, so awesome. I mean, I tell you, it was like the best time going there, finding these awesome people, having those nice conversations everywhere you were. This awesome respect. I was thrilled with how respectful and nonviolent people were, how nice, smiley, soft, sharing, loving, caring. I mean, I had the best experience last year, so I'm thrilled to come back there, because I tell you, it's been like a how can I say that, like a caress to my soul too. Finding like-minded people, non-violent people, everything so respectful, and people so nice. So many nice conversations out of the lectures. I mean, one thing is the lectures that can be very interesting. There are topics that I'm more involved and others that I'm not so much. But the conversations outside and the beach is very nice too. I have to say that too. that beach is very pretty. But it was so nice to find people. And I remember I met this Winsome Kind.
Yeah,
People,
Winsome Kind, yes.
Yeah, so nice. We found them at the beach before the event happened, and they said, oh, so sweet people. And then you see that almost everybody that goes there are these sweet, pacific, nonviolent people. And this is in a world that I'm all the time like fighting, let's say, even when it's not my role fighting, but you have to go against so much energy again, so like the mainstream, even if you don't want. But it's like my life is totally the opposite of what most of the people live. Being there with like-minded people, being there in such a beautiful environment, so respectful, people that were like inspiring you new things and learning other things from other speakers. I enjoy so much, Laura. I can just say it's the best thing. I mean, we were just wanting to come back this year and say, yes, let's go. My kids had an awesome time, awesome, beyond awesome time with you guys. It was amazing, amazing. And for me, it's like, and it's nourishment for the soul, because it's like, here I don't have to fight. Here I can find support. Here I reinforce my own beliefs, and this being in a place that you don't have to fight is like being at home. But at home
we can relax.
Yeah.
And have
with
fun.
Sometimes you have to fight a little bit, but but there it's awesome. The food was awesome, and it was awesome to meet so many nice people, nice people. I was thrilled, and I'm thrilled to come back. I'm very happy.
I'm looking forward meeting you there.
Yes.
It's going to be soon.
Yes.
And I hope that many people will discover you and the holographic blood that Adam is bringing.
Yes.
And
I will
yeah.
bring my Bible. We are going to do live scans and with the energy. So be ready for that, because you're
Okay.
going to be able to see your energy fields and
Yeah,
what your
that's
light
exciting.
says.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
Really
it's really
great.
nice. Hmm.
Thank you so much for this conversation. It's been really exciting. And yeah, I'm looking forward meeting you at Anarchapulco and continuing this. And I hope that many of the people that gonna watch this gonna get like, yes, okay, I'm coming.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I love that event, and I encourage everybody that is doubting, because it's an awesome opportunity to be with people and enjoy. And there is so much content and so many activities, and everything is beautiful. And the food, it was awesome too.
Yeah, and the garden.
And the
This
garden
is
and the bed.
this is probably the last time we are in this space, and so to manage to get to enjoy the garden as well.
Yes.
Really, really good opportunity. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. It's been a pleasure being with you. And I encourage people to come to the event, because it's nourishing. It's so much nourishing, and it's like gives you back hope in a moment that everything is so messy and there are so many uncertainties. At least to me, it brings me so much hope, seeing so many free people there that they don't make noise. Is that sometimes, Laura, I feel very alone in my reality, because you perceive yourself different, and you see how people are just blind following the mainstream, and you go to places like that and you see so many free people, but they don't make noise. They don't make noise. They just live their lives, and you see, but we are a big crowd of free souls. Why don't we gather from time to time? And this is the possibility of gathering all these free souls, all these white ships, not black ships.
Thank you all for watching. You have still the possibility to come to Anarchapulco and meet Ana Oliva and all the other speakers in person. I hope to see you there. Bye.